Got a Kleber replay for you again. This time from my good clanmate Louise. He messaged me on Discord and he said to me, "Hey, but you got to check this bloody insane match that we've got going here." So we've covered the history of the Kleber before. Also, I need to apologize. I have some audio issues. My boom microphone is picking up some sort of noise which causes issues with voiceovers, so I'm using the microphone on my headset, which isn't great. You'll hear a little bit of hissing. I do apologize for that. I'll try and sort that out in the next week or so. Anyway, we've covered the history of the Kleber, so I'm not going to go into that. Needless to say, I am actively grinding towards this line. It looks to be great fun, even though playing a destroyer at the moment is a little bit of a masochistic event. So, Louis here obviously has 19-point captain in his Kleber with RPF, and he is detecting where the enemy destroyer is. Now there's 4 destroyers on each team, so a little bit of a rarity to see. And one of the other guys, what is an AL? That's at Azure Lane Weeb or as I call, if it's the Latorio, it's just Roma. If it's the other one, then it's the what I call the Titty Soyuz, which is basically the Azure Lane Sov Soyuz. Somebody, and then he's like, anime sucks. Yeah, interesting. So Louis spots the enemy Fletcher and decides, hey, let's put some shells. 2 fires, 6 hits. Kleber obviously has to put those fires. Fletcher, not Kleber. Man, I'm as bad at this as Jingles is. Jingles is renowned for misidentifying the ships, and I pulled the Jingles there. So the Fletcher obviously had to put those 2 fires out as Louise and the Kleber decided just to top wall. Now the other day I was watching Flamou's stream, and he had a Kleber and he configured it for torpedoes, and it utterly sucks. So Kleber needs to be a gunboat. RPF is now pointing to this big gap here in the 1-2 line, so Louise is going to see if he can find whatever is in there. Now, Kleber has terrible concealment, I believe. I think it's 6.2 or 6.8 versus 5.5 for something like the enemy Shimakaze. My tier 8 Lightning has a 5.5 concealment. And Louise is detected. Now, since he's detected, he might as well go and find it. Enemy Yugumo takes care of our enemy Gearing takes care of our Yugumo and scores a first blood, and that's usually never a good thing. I send 6 torpedoes out just to carpet, and he sees a shit ton of torpedoes come through. Okay, that looked like 2 sets of 5. It could be a Shimakaze out here. Yeah, right. There's the enemy Shimakaze, and it's time to start gunning at him. Come on, Louise, you got this. Scores a fire and an incapacitation, 6 shell hits. And he throws more torps at the Shimmer. Now, unfortunately, he's also being spotted by the Shimmer, and that means lots and lots of shells coming his way. And as fast and as great as the Kleber is, there's only so much that it can do. Now, they're down, and then the friendly Gearing managed to take care of the enemy Gearing. So that was the Gearing that had the first blood. He's now out of the game, and when Louise's team has just lost a cap, they're now actually managing to turn it again. And there's the Shimakaze again. Time to start gunboating. Then he knocks one of the Shimakaze's turrets out. Not that I've ever seen a Shimakaze player actually use his turrets. They just rely on their torpedoes. Now, as you can see, Luistr is in the division here, and he's got a friendly Seattle moving in to try and dissuade the Shimakaze from pushing. There's a lot of torpedoes in the water. All 3 racks of the Shimakaze. Reichenbacher is in the Seattle. Is he going to torpedo that? Enemy Yamato has put himself in a bit of a crossfire position, and since the Kleber is a gunboat and there's no immediate threat, well, might as well start shooting. We can see our friendly gearing in that little snippet right there. There he is. He's on super low health, so he needs to play very carefully. Luistr here has taken but 1 hit, so he's got almost full health. And there's an enemy Luistr. If I wasn't a destroyer, a Luistr would be something I'd be a little bit concerned with. Shell arcs on a Luistr are terrible though. And again, Luistr shows that he's a way better destroyer player than I am, because he immediately switched to AP there, shot AP at the Luistr, because the Luistr is made from paper and citadels. And he's trying to get the team to actually capture A. They were turning A and then they lost it. Enemy turning C again. Their only saving grace is that they are 2 kills up to the 1 of the red team. Now, don't ask me what this Odin was doing. He probably sailed straight through B cap, captured B cap, and then he's now sailing through A cap to try and get out of it. Odin, there's a Montana, Pomeran, Kleber. Oh, there's the Fletcher. There's another Fletcher. Come on, guys, kill the Fletcher, kill the Fletcher. So Luistr sends 3 sets of torpedoes onto this Odin. Oh, and the enemy booster kills our Kagero. And Luistr gets his first kill of the match. 2 floods, 2 torpedo hits, and he managed to knock the Odin out. Now he's got some help coming in here. The enemy Fletcher is trying to get between the wreck of the Odin and the torpedoes that's coming, so that the wreck obviously eats up all the torpedoes. In doing so, he's ground himself. Yeah, he not cert. And the last thing you want to do in a Fletcher when you've not cert is have to face a Kleber gunboat. And the Seattle takes care of the Shimmer. Luistr managed to take care of the Fletcher, but the Luistr takes care of Reichenbacher in Seattle. The tide has slightly turned. They're almost matching on points, but the ship kills are now starting to stack in Luistr's favor. He sends torpedoes out, and then around the corner comes bad news. Time to turn out. Run. There's that Luistr, and that Luistr wants him dead. So while he's trying to run away from the Luistr, he's also trying to put as many torpedoes in the water as possible towards the enemy Georgia, who just wrecks the Amagi. And he manages to get 1 torpedo and a flood on the Georgia. Come on, we'll ease it. Georgia is wildly trying evasive action. And Holdfast in his Stalingrad is starting to move in. He gets another torpedo on the Georgia, and that Georgian just needs a couple of good hits and then he's gone. My mistake. No, it is Holdfast. She's in Montana and decided, okay, it is time to start brawling a Luistr and a Georgia and a Montana. No, that Georgia is a very low health and will take literally 1 shell to destroy. But he's healing up and he's got 15 15 health again. And he is deciding I am getting out of dodge. This is getting way too hot. Right, with the Georgia out of the picture. Hold fast in the Montana, can start dealing with that Luistr. And if I was in a Luistr in a close range match, I wouldn't want to deal with a Montana. Sarge managed to take out the Riga. And Luistr and the Kleber is now working the Yamato that he's decided to push in. The match is still fairly even. Both teams have a cap. Luistr's team is managing to cap the B cap here. But the priority to kill at the moment now is this Luistr. I mean, the Luistr is not a great ship, but it can put a great deal of hurt. As long as, especially if it can set multiple fires on that Montana. And I'm not sure if Holdfast actually has the legendary module on it. But Luistr is out. The Azure Lane Yukikazi torpedoes the Azure Lane Soyuz. And finally, Luistr's team is in the lead. Only 4 ships remaining to their 7. The Yamato has decided to push in, but he's got himself wedged in a precarious position between those hills there. He decides to go dark, but it's going to be very difficult because everybody knows where he is. As you can see, even RPF points. Oof. Oof. And in short work, Luistr's team loses two ships, and it's 4 versus 5 again. This game is not won by any means. The Yamato seems to have seen the error in his ways and has decided that reversing bow tanking is probably the better way to get out of this situation. Luistr's team has only got the B cap. They are finally capping A, but as they're capping A, they are losing C cap, and the red team is still way ahead of points. And there's only 8 minutes remaining in the game. Now you think 8 minutes is a long time, but I have seen games being lost in the last 30 seconds. Luistr manages to set 2 fires on the Yamato. The Yamato seems to be letting them burn. There's not much he can do. Putting out 1 fire will just set another one. The Georgia and the Pomeran decide to ram each other. That was an interesting outcome right there. And we see a bunch of torpedoes go and hit the Yamato. Yamato uses his damage control finally, just as Luistr gets another fire. The friendly Zal takes out the Azure Lane Yukikazi, so it is this Yamato and the CV remaining. Finally, it looks like the tide might slightly be turning. Now, Luistr has set a fire, and he knows that fire will burn for probably about a minute. Yamato does not get a quick reload repair party, and he's just using a repair party on the fires and floods from those torpedoes. Yamato's got his spotter plane up to try and see what is coming at him. There's 2 destroyers, a CV and a cruiser still in the game. Torpedoes are out. CV is trying to punch holes in him. And then Luistr comes for what I thought was an incredibly ballsy move. He was sure of his target, and he was sure he was going to survive it. Multiple torpedo hits, his 3rd kill, and he gets arsonist. Good job, good job. Right. All the caps are now turned. 590 points versus 500. Now, only to find the enemy CV. And Luistr has had an incredible game for somebody like me in the Kleber here so far. 161,000 damage. He's had 6 torpedo hits, 11 fires, 5 incapacitations, 3 kills, 4 floods so far. But like they usually say in those infomercials, when they are selling you the George Foreman grill. But that's not all, folks. Luis finds himself in the fortunate, shall we say unfortunate, position of finding the enemy Lexington. Now we all know CVs, they absolutely love destroyers love CVs, and the Lexington is going to try and make dead certain that he survives as long as possible and gets himself a Kleber kill. Luckily for Luis, the friendly CV is assisting with the kill, and he has got the friendly gearing behind him as well, trying to kill this CV, who is now sending squad of the squad planes up, and they don't have to travel far. They know exactly where the Kleber is that's shooting holes in him. 173,000 damage so far, and there is Luis's Confederate. Oof. The Lexington gets a nasty strike there, knocks out two of Luis's rear turrets, incapacitates his steering, but obviously like any good DD player, he's got a lot of stand on it, so he's got limited movement. He doesn't bother using his repair party. It might be needed for something more important later. And he switched over to AP. Not sure if that was the best decision. You'll see a hell of a lot of ricochets on the hull there of the Lexington. 10 ricochets versus 7 penetrations there. At 182,000 damage, Luis gets his high caliber, and it's turning out to be a fantastic match for him. The Lexington manages to dodge his torpedoes, and is now edge surfing, and the end is inevitable. So we can see there, Luis has done 197,000 and had an amazing game. Luis, thank you for sending this replay through. It is a textbook Kleber play, and we'll all speak soon. Take care. Cheers.